Here.
Chair Trivett.
Here.
Vice Chair Stevens.
Here.
Mr. Fuller.
Here.
Mr. Carnifax.
Here. Okay, first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. I think you all have them. If there's any changes, additions, or corrections, now's the time. If not, a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
Second.
Ms. Hutton. Aye. Mr. Bellamy.
Aye.
Chair Trivett.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens.
Aye.
Mr. Fuller.
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax.
Aye.
Okay, great. Next is board member announcements. Does anybody have anything?
I don't know if it's an announcement or a question or a comment or all of the above. So now that we have the band all here, we have executive director, we have Kemper, we have all the players, and we're 8 to 9 months away from opening. We've never really sat down and finalized kind of the shell of the schedule for all of those things. And I know they've got some meetings with the Parks and Recreation directors and everything's set up. But I'm thinking in my brain, since John and I have been involved with this for all of our lives, it seems like, and I know if we put more than 3 on there, we have to have a special meeting. But I think maybe for the first couple of meetings to get that ironed out, it might be wise if we use Robbie, John, and I, as well as the directors and all, to kind of oversee that, so we make sure everybody's singing from the same sheet of music. We may not all sing well together, but at least we'll know what we're supposed to be singing.
So your suggestion is to form a committee?
We have, I think they've got a committee in place.
Kemper does, right?
Kemper, and I know,
Okay.
yeah. So, but if we add it, I know if we have 3 members on it, we have to have a public
Right.
meeting. But I think that's important that we take the wisdom that John has, my experience, I guess, and Robbie, to kind of meld all that together to make sure everybody's knows what their roles are, so everybody knows what to expect, because to make sure that we get what we're wanting.
Sure.
So that's my thought.
Okay, well, I think that's on Kemper's list of things to do. My 2 cents on it is I would really prefer that we not have 3 board members, just so that we can avoid the hassle of posting an agenda for every meeting and meeting all those requirements. But if that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. So we'll leave that to Dana to work out the details of who's going to be on it.
And I don't think it's a long-term thing. I think their meeting will be long-term and ongoing. But I think just the initial setup of that shell would be wise to have everybody involved.
Okay.
And just to clarify, to make sure our discussion and topics or our goal is to come out of that with some kind of fee structure and operating, scheduling format, is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. And if I remember right, Dana said that Kemper Sports was to bring something to this authority as a recommendation, and then it would be this board's role to either approve that fee structure, and so this would be part of that process.
That's
so
correct.
They would be in this meeting as well. We would,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So okay, thank you. I support the concept and the process.
Okay. The only other thing I was going to say is to welcome Dana and be glad that now we have somebody sitting in that chair and taking over the process of scheduling meetings and handling agendas, and reports and tours and all kinds of things. So thank you, Dana.
True, if I could add the same, I would say we introduced Dana at our last meeting in her absence, and she's been here, I guess, 3 weeks or so. It feels like a lot longer. I mean, she is running around.
Probably to her, too.
Well, she's still smiling, still seems to be excited to be here, and I just want to say I'm really happy to have her around, and I think she's integrating and fitting in very well. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Any other announcements? All right, reports, financial report, Ms. Dameron.
Yes. New year, new influx of money. And so I will say that everybody has paid their maintenance of effort funds. You won't see the cities down here because that actually went in the bank September 2nd. So that'll add another $586,000 to the revenue that we're showing on this report for operating of $622,658. We also had an influx of some of the funds that the city was sending over to support those sports complex. So at the end of August, this report shows $11,270,000 cash in the bank and $9.4 million in the bond escrow. Actually, on September 2nd, I did a drawdown of 8.8 million. So that reduces the escrow account to 668,000 plus the 1,593,000 in interest earnings that's also in escrow, and brings our cash balance up to about 20 million. We finished August with a net position of 13,644,000, and since we have a detailed list of the revenues and expenditures, I won't go into that. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, though.
One thing I would add to the financial report is, as we've talked about many times, we've got to finish out our borrowing plan for this project. Barbara and I have been talking about it and going through the numbers as closely as we can as the final numbers come in for things like demolition and FF&E. I think there's a meeting this week in Richmond to do some finalization of that with the FF&E provider. So we're getting real close. The idea would be that probably Davenport comes to our next meeting of the HTRFA, so it'd be October, and shares with us that borrowing plan. And then they will go to City Council, who will have to extend the moral obligation to that number, whatever it is. But just so that it's clear, we're still at the budget number of what the contract is. That's the beauty of a guaranteed maximum price contract. But, you know, there's two ways to finance a project. You can borrow it all in the beginning, part of it being an estimate on what you think those final costs are going to be, or you can borrow it in 2 stages. And we decided to borrow in 2 stages. And so we've got to do that final borrowing to get us across the finish line. Any other questions? All right, great. And for the first time ever, an executive director's report.
Sorry. First of all, I want to say good afternoon, Chairman Trivett and HTRFA board members. I'm Dana Yaus. I'm the Executive Director for HTRFA. Before I start my report, I just want to say thank you again for ensuring me this opportunity. I'm extremely excited about this job. I want to say I can't even express how welcomed everyone here has made me feel. The staff that that works with you in all 3 jurisdictions has been nothing but supportive and welcoming. And when you move into a new state and start a new job, you have a little bit of anxiety, and I can tell you that everyone, all 3 jurisdictions, as well as our partners that are here, have gone above and beyond to make me feel welcome, and I can't thank you enough. So anyway, y'all ready to get started? Okay. So we're going to talk first about our, I need my glasses again, sorry. We're going to talk first about what we've done over the past couple of weeks. We've executed the Bazon-Cox contract. It's a network for infrastructure and cabling over at the sports complex. I've held introductory meetings with all 3 of the jurisdictions, as well as the respective parks and recreation directors and managers. I have met with our construction team with MVP, and they have brought me up to speed on the project status. You'll get a more detailed report today from Meredith Shirley, who will come up and present that. I have also been working closely with Ben Hardwin with Kemper. We talk pretty much on a daily basis. Am I doing that? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Can you tell I'm nervous? And also I've had an opportunity to meet with some of the key stakeholders in 2 of the jurisdictions so far. Some of the standing meetings that I've set up is the construction management team. We will meet weekly. Kemper, we talk almost daily, and we will be meeting weekly. I have set up a monthly meeting with the sports division with Visit Williamsburg, and we will expand that to the events and conference division. With Visit Williamsburg, I have a meeting at the end of the month with Ed, and we'll secure those dates. I have got a monthly meeting with Kemper and the Parks and Recreation Director. Brian Fuller will join us in October. John Carnifax will not be here, so we will not have to do an announcement for that one. He won't be here on the date that is set. And then we also have the superlative group that I'll be meeting with on a monthly basis, if not. I've been in contact with Sean several times since our last meeting that y'all received the minutes from. Currently in progress, and what we're doing for deliverables is we are in the very beginning stages of the SOPs and the emergency action plan specific to our facility. We're finalizing the F&E budget, all in conjunction with Ben and Kemper. We're looking at facility fees and programming. We had in our meeting that I met with the Parks and Recreation directors and manager, I asked what their visions would be. It was more of an introductory meeting. I know that for our next meeting on the agenda is going to be calendars. We need to look at and see what the Parks and Recreation departments need, what that calendar looks like, because Kemper's going to need to fill in if we need fill-in space during that time. I have also had the opportunity to review several contracts and leases that we have already agreed to and been reviewing. I'm continuing to set up meetings with the communities and other additional stakeholders that some of the board members have asked me to do. I'm also reaching out for sponsorships. We'll pass those along over to the superlative group. I've been reviewing the budget, and I've got a plan on meeting with Miss Barbara soon. I've also signed a warranty on the roof panel with Butler. I have also reviewed and approving invoices now. And then recently this week, I've looked at grant opportunities that'll be in your upcoming report. I want to make sure I'm not competing against any of the jurisdictions. You'll see the grants that we currently qualify for. We have a very, very strong application with 3 jurisdictions working with us, Kemper working with us, bringing in Visit Williamsburg for the tourism piece. I think that in my experience with writing grants, I think that we would be awarded a lot of funds. And that'll be something that the board will need to look at, decide on which ones you'd like for us to go after. Grant writing is very intense, and that maybe not be something that this role is doing 100% of the time, but that'll be a decision that you guys will probably want to look at. Do I see it happening before the FF&E budget and getting any awarded funds? No, but I do see it possibly for next year as an opportunity. It's been busy, and I think we've been very productive, everyone involved. And other than that, does anyone have any questions or for me?
Just thank you very much.
Thank y'all very much.
Enjoyed your weekly summaries. They've been very beneficial, and it keeps us all on the same page. So
Wonderful. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate your time.
Oh, just thank you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Dana. Next up is the operator's report.
All right, good afternoon. Ben Hardwin, General Manager at the new beautiful Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center. All right, so I'm excited to continue the theme from last month where I suggested that we are achieving liftoff, and I think we have really taken it to the next level with the addition of Heidi in our sales and marketing position, as well as Antonio in our sports and operations position. And they have hit the ground running, and a lot of the information and content that you're reading in the weekly progress report is generated directly from their efforts. So we have them on a good path, and they're executing at a high level, and so we're super excited about the progress they've made in a short period of time. So, talking a little bit about administrative and operational. So we are working to finalize our revisions on the recommended FF&E. We've really dialed back a couple of things and come at it from a different angle, from an operational angle, to make sure that we have all the equipment and all of the right tools and resources we need to execute at a high level. We have completed and submitted our wayfinding signage to MEB. So that's checked off the list. We have established, as Dana said, a regular collaborative meeting with our executive director, and have really worked hard to define how we can synergistically work together to enhance this process and further the development of this facility. As Mr. Fuller suggested, we are looking for collaborative ways to address certain issues that affect the building directly, specifically hours of operation, drop-in costs and fees. From the Kemper side, we certainly have recommendations and things that we've worked with, but we want to make sure it's representative and all-encompassing so that we meet the needs of the community and all of the other goals of the facility. As I mentioned, Antonio and Heidi are really knee-deep in the Kemper onboarding process at this point, going through all the various platforms and resources that we have established in that regard. And we have started some preliminary interviews with food and beverage managers just to start to hit the ground running with those individuals and make sure that we have the right person in the right seat when that time comes. So that's another key hire for us as well. On the business development side, so this is just a small sample of some of the events right holders and opportunities that we are currently pursuing. They're in various stages of development. Some are very close to agreements and financial commitments. Some are more on the early stages of connectivity. But I'll share sort of anecdotally that earlier today I met with the Riverside volleyball group out of Richmond, and they want to bring 190 teams to us in 2027 for a massive tournament, as well as be a local host site for micro tournaments that they do with their elite travel teams. So we have really started to hear back from the sports community. All of our intake pieces and the connections that we're making are starting to take form, and we feel really positive about where we're headed at this point, and I think we're on the right trajectory. From a sponsorship and sort of corporate event standpoint, which falls in Heidi's world, you know, I was at the Connect Marketplace 2 weeks ago, which I'll talk about in a moment. We've got a 2-day event that is in the mix that we're looking to secure. We've got some FAM tours that we're setting up and working in conjunction with Visit Williamsburg to support them as they bring folks into the market and look at our property. And yeah, and then in addition to that, we're working very closely, as Dana suggested, with the Superlative Group. I've got a meeting tomorrow with Golden Corral. We had one with Invest Davenport. We've got a couple of other ones, and so we are working very closely with the Superlative Group to make sure that we're, in a collaborative sense, knocking on all the doors, making the connections, and then when Superlative gets involved, you know, we're making a clean handoff to them with all the information that they need to pursue those opportunities. So 2 weeks ago, I got to work on my tan in Miami Beach, and I went to the Connect conference. It was a really great opportunity for networking, and I spoke specifically to about 60 event right holders. It was very interesting because one of the groups that seemed extremely interested in our facility were high-level corporate event planners, wedding planners, and regional representatives of larger national groups that have either Virginia chapters or Mid-Atlantic chapters of their organizations. And so as we roll into October, I'm going to be going to the Teams Conference in Ohio, where we have a partnership with Visit Williamsburg to sponsor a golf outing. I'll be speaking to about 100 different people at that opportunity in Columbus, Ohio, and we have about 200 people coming to the golf event. So another great opportunity to showcase our facility. Small selection of groups that we, again, are currently in discussion with from a sports standpoint. Some of these are, as I said, very close to finalization. Others we're just in the preliminary stages of discussion. And then from a marketing standpoint, we, you know, Heidi being here has been an amazing opportunity for us to kind of take a half step backwards and make sure all of our foundational marketing efforts are pointed in the right direction. So we've updated the website. We're including more exposure and more information in regards to our corporate and community and conferencing types of events. It was very sports heavy only initially, and so we're moving to represent that space better. We've built out a newsletter that will be starting in the end of this month that will go out in a monthly cadence to events right holders, to key stakeholders, and other prominent individuals, not only as part of this community, but folks that we want to subscribe to our newsletter and kind of see what we're all about. We have a branding guide that was put together by Kemper. We are continuing to work to define that in all of the various marketing collateral pieces. We have put together a 30-day social media plan and a calendar, so we'll start to make sure we hit all those markers as far as our postings. Last month, you asked me specifically about some marketing pieces, which I will hand out here at the conclusion of my time so that you see those. But we have rebuilt some of those pieces and added to our portfolio of marketing collateral. And then finally, we have started a relationship with Triple Seat, which is a very robust CRM, customer relation management software system. This will help us stay connected to all of the different events right holders and different accounts that we manage, whether it's a small one-time rental or it's a very large size tournament, to communicate with them, to do automated emailing and various touch points to make sure that they feel connected with. And so we're excited to take that on. And on the right panel there, it's actually more inflated than that, but we've continued to see growth in our social media platforms. And there's a couple of examples. And a few more, and I have some hard copies here, as I said. And then in conclusion, I wanted to add this piece to the operator's report that I'm entitling Elevated Experience, in that I think what will be a distinguishing factor and characteristic of this facility is the ability to carry out tournaments and events at a very high level consistently. And in doing so, we're building a culture and some foundational pieces that will help to ensure that that takes place. So a couple of examples, we've revised and enhanced our intake experience. So if you're an events right holder and you wanted to get information about us or fill out a form about us, we're working to make that more robust and a faster turnaround so that the end user gets a better experience. We have identified and worked through our business flow so that the process by which someone is interested in us to where we execute and price out a contract and work it through all the customization back gets faster and gets more efficient. And then just to kind of wrap things up, Kemper has a program called True Service that has been around for a long time, and it's a tried and true customer service experience training. And so we are going through that process right now, and all of the employees of the WSEC will go through that to make sure that we have a consistent delivery of our high-level customer service. Okay. Any questions?
On your trip to Miami and the convention part and the discussions you said, so can you give me an idea of the customers you were talking to and what they were looking for? I'm assuming things during the week and events for corporations, but is that accurate?
Yeah, it was a little, it varied obviously from, I would call it segmentation to segmentation. Event planners were looking for certain things. One thing that I heard consistently was hotels. How close are the hotels? What's your inventory? How close are you to an airport? If you're not close to those amenities, is there a shuttle service that's provided, or is there public transportation that is safe and cost effective? We heard that. We heard food and beverage, which I think we feel like we have under control, and we're going to provide a great food and beverage experience. The event planners were specifically looking for, they represent clients, and they're looking to have a certain event in a different location. And so they go out and broker deals to find venues such as ours. And there were quite a few of those that were very interested in what we have to offer in this area. And so in addition to that, as I stated, I spoke to many organizations where it was a president or someone that was at the highest level, and they sent us opportunities at the Virginia or Mid-Atlantic chapters of those organizations. So we have a pipeline of individuals that we're reaching out to try to, obviously get them to come to the facility.
Questions, operator?
Only comment. I don't know if there's a reason not to have it monthly. I like the information of how many bookings we have by year, and I don't need titles necessarily, but it's just sort of nice to have that total, whether it's an email, whether it's in a board report, whether it's you, whether it's Dana. It's been in Kemper's report most of the time, and if there's a reason not to have it there, I can be okay with that. I would just like to be able to keep up with
Absolutely.
those kinds of things as well.
We can include that in this report, or if you would like it in Dana's weekly progress, whatever's.
I think you're running the facility. For me, it makes sense for it to be in yours, but I can, if you and Dana come to some other conclusion, I'm okay with that or another way to get it. But
Not a problem.
I do like having that information as well, but thank you for
Absolutely.
this.
No, thank you. We'll make sure that's included next month.
And I think to that point, that's one of the questions we get, especially from our elected officials.
Okay.
Because that's a key driver for them.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure, you want the ones that have been committed to and signed off on, or the ones that, it starts to get muddy when you start looking at
Committed,
committed or
under contract.
under contract. Maybe.
Right.
That'd be easier on you than.
Correct. And so the previous reports that were demonstrated here were ones that we had solidified agreements on. And so I'll include that next month, make sure that's. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we got a couple of celebrity guests today to give us reports. The first one is Meredith, going to give us a construction report. Yeah, Jesse, you're next. In case you're wondering who the other celebrity was.
Good afternoon. My name is Meredith Shirley. I'm an engineer technician with MVP, and I'm going to be giving today's construction updates. So a couple of key milestones. We dried in the building on August 28th. We have about 8 units started up out of 20, and startup should be complete October. Maple flooring install starts December 25th, or December of this year. The turf roll should start January, and then their feature gym should be shipping sometime in December and starting in January as well. Site work, we're about 50% complete. They have remobilized this week, and they'll work through the end of the year on hardscapes, landscapes, and parking lots and so forth. Building progress, we're about 70% complete. All exterior windows have been completed. Interior framing has been completed. Kitchen has started. The hoods are installed, and they're working on ductwork for that. And then plumbing fixtures, lighting fixtures, and ductwork have been started throughout the first floor and the mezzanine. They've continued to hang drywall and start interior painting on the first floor. Then our epoxy flooring sample was completed and approved. And then our hub space, the kitchen, finishing drywall, and then we've started painting the ceiling in there as well. And then the sports courts, the turf roll system has been installed and the control panel is in. The winches have been installed and are complete. They have finished painting, and the hanging athletic equipment started this week as well. And then our OAC meeting is tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and then I'm going to click through my PowerPoint once it gets up.
So on that turf flooring, or maybe I misunderstood, do they come in and they install, well, they put the turf down, they seam it, seal it, do all of that, then they roll it back up, and then the maple flooring goes down? Or
No, I
they
believe
put
the
the maple
maple
floor down
flooring is
first?
going down first, and
Okay.
then the turf roll will come in.
And you said all the buildings dried in.
Yes.
And I know originally they had talked about leaving some couple windows out so they could get the feature gym and all of that in. Is that still the process or is it different?
There's a couple windows and doors that are not in currently, and they're plywooded or like poly overed.
Okay.
And that's a feature gym wall. The hub space, they've blocked out the columns, and it's really coming together, finishing that drywall. Kitchen hoods installed. In the first floor, you can see that's an office on the left, and then long hallway on the right. Gym space, painting completed. Exterior, they're doing longboard on the pop-ups, and then the brick and the exterior windows completed. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meredith. All right, our other celebrity is Jesse Sands Anderson doing the legal report. Welcome to Williamsburg.
I don't have anything specific to report. I know Robin and Dan
Any questions for legal? All right, open forum. If anybody would like to address the HTRFA board, come forward to the podium. Keep your comments to 5 minutes. State your name and address. I don't see anybody coming, so move on. Today, we don't have closed session. I know you're glad to hear that, Scott. Take a slight break. So we'll jump to new business. First item is consideration and authorization for the board chair to execute a contract for network equipment at the Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center. And we're going to hear from Mark.
Good afternoon, Chairman Trivett, members of the board. The Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center requires network equipment for its wired and its wireless networks. This contract supports the purchase, the installation, and testing of all network equipment to support the computers, wireless access, cameras, and cable TV for the entire facility. This project was designed by Vicom, which is a local company out of Virginia Beach. We use them extensively in the city, and it was priced using the Vast Cup contract. While it is a budgeted expense within the budget of the sports center, the authorization is required because the cost exceeds $100,000. So the staff recommendation is that the board authorize the chair to execute a contract with Vicom for network equipment for the sports center not to exceed $180,085.02. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have one question, but it's for Jesse. We're just following the old way of doing things. So this says that authorization is for the board chair to sign the agreement, which I'm happy to do. But now that we have an executive director, would it not be more appropriate for her to have the authorization?
You could do it either way, or you could do both.
Do you want us to keep it board chair this time, but moving forward?
I think it would be easier because the documents have already been drawn up and it has your name on there as the chair.
Okay.
We can change that moving forward, though, to have Dana sign whatever we need to. Hopefully, this is the last big ticket item I'm in front of you about, though.
Any questions for Mark? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ms. Hutton? Aye. Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax?
Aye.
All right, next is everybody's favorite item, adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn?
Second?
Ms. Hutton? Aye. Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax?
Aye.
All right, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Nice.